Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-host.
Dominic, back in the kitchen.
All right. So, first off, how are you doing, Dom?
Pretty good. We're already on the ending of June and starting off July. Today is the 2nd of July. And I think that's a bit of a special moment. But we'll get back a little bit.
It's the 3rd of July.
3rd of July. Oh my God.
Tomorrow's 4th of July. Any plans?
Tomorrow, I'm probably just going to be working. I was planning on celebrating with my family, but I guess they're going to have to go on without me. But I mean, it is what it is. I got to get that, the paper, the monies.
Yeah, I get you. Got to be on that grind.
Yeah. So, I probably won't be doing much tomorrow. Probably just like watching the fireworks as I walk back home from work.
Well, I hope you're safe during that time.
Hopefully. Did you hear about that huge explosion, the controlled explosion by that bomb squad that went horribly wrong?
Yes, I did. I heard about it and I saw the video. Very crazy how that happened.
Yeah, but what's been on my mind is why did it detonate it like in a regular street with homes right next to it?
Yeah.
Should have just done it with 2 rounds.
Yeah, I saw like the video and I was very confused by it too. I was like, I don't know. You would think being the bomb squad, you would be able to handle this better, I guess,
Yeah.
More efficiently, have better plans prepared for it,
Yeah. I think what they were trying to do was just to quickly dispose of it, just so they don't have to do anything else, like transport it and stuff like that. But considering like how many, I don't even know how many pounds was in that bomb. I'm pretty sure they had to confiscate in total 5,000, but I'm not sure how many pounds were in that black ball just full of bombs.
Yeah.
It couldn't even take on all the power, considering how much damage it did to the semi truck that was on top of it.
Yeah.
It absolutely annihilated it, man. And it injured like 6 other 15 other people?
Yeah, that thing was huge. It was crazy.
Yeah. Are you gonna celebrate the 4th of July? Yeah.
So I'm a pet owner, so celebrating 4th of July is difficult when you have a pet who doesn't like the fireworks.
That is true.
It's like, I get it, fireworks, they're cool and all, but once you become a pet owner, it's very different. You learn to despise them because of like the fact that it just makes things 10 times more difficult.
Right.
Especially when you got people who it's like 10 days after something has happened, like Memorial Day, 4th of July, stuff like that, and they're still doing it.
That is true.
Or the people who just randomly do it at like 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Say, have you ever like encountered or like witnessed like an accidental firework popping off like nearby you or like in front of you?
I have not.
No, okay. I've had my fair share of accidental mishaps.
Oh, I remember that one.
Funniest things ever.
Didn't you get hit in the face with one?
I got hit in the face with a firecracker. And it kind of blew up some skin off, but it healed up surprisingly well afterwards. But like it was kind of, it was like an absolute flashbang hitting me.
You lost your hearing for a bit too, right?
I did. For like a good 2-3 hours, I think I couldn't hear absolutely nothing.
Bro,
but afterwards, it was like returning back to normal. But there was also this other moment I wanted to point out where I think this was like during like 2016 4th of July. Someone had like one of those like illegal fireworks, like an actual authentic illegal firework.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like one of the and you could tell it went off wrong because it was supposed to be a firework that went up in the air, but it just blew up straight on the spot as soon as I think it was one of our relatives had the lighter on him, and it just blew up. Just as soon as that. Thankfully, the guy was staring at the other side, so he just got his clothes burned off a bit, but it just blew up in everyone's faces.
Dang.
Good times, though. Good times.
man.
Yeah,
So,
that's
gotta
pretty
be
much that.
careful. Gotta be careful with fireworks, you know.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, that's another reason why I don't like it, is that, like, I don't know, man. Get them into the wrong hands. The people who don't know how to handle them, utilize them properly. It's like you end up causing danger and issues for other people.
Right. But I think like the scary thing is that we've only been able to confiscate like 5,000, right? Just 5,000 alone. Just imagine how much is being transported elsewhere in California and the rest of the world, you know?
Yeah.
So, and you ever wonder how, like, why do they make such like illegal fireworks? Like, you ever just like think of that? Like, they know they're putting like too much gunpowder into these things. They know it's gonna explode on someone if it's not done correctly. And yet they still sell it. It's
Money.
such a thought. And money, true, yeah.
Also, with the people who are buying them, they just want to freaking be outlandish with fireworks.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I don't get what is the incentive of getting them when you can just get like regular ones, you know, that are just fine and will be just as like aesthetically pleasing as any others.
Right. I think it's some sort of like battle of like who has the best fireworks, who has like who wants, how do you call it? Like they're attention seeker, something of the sort. Like they want everyone to look at their firework when it blows up in the air.
Yeah, I
But
could see that too.
that's in my opinion. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that too. Any other anything else?
Anything else? Eh?
Like anything happened to you this week?
Well, I was given a what do you call it? A acceptance letter for a second job elsewhere, but it's 6 miles from here, so I'm probably not gonna take it. Considering I do need a second job, it's kinda. But aside from that, nothing else has really changed of the sorts. I've been able to play the Oculus Quest that I bought recently more than enough in terms of being able to use it for exercise, which is pretty crazy. I get drenched in sweat after using it for like a good 40 minutes.
Dang.
Like you know, like Beat Saber and stuff like that. It just makes you like sweat like crazy. But I mean, other than that, I don't think there's nothing else to report on for this week. I think so far. Anything happened to you, Jack? Anything crazy, intense?
Did I bring up on this podcast that I signed up for classes and I'm going to be going back on campus?
I feel like you might have stated that before. I believe so, yeah. But I think it's not confirmed that you are.
Oh yeah, I don't think I ever confirmed it. Yeah, one of my, like for one or two of my classes, I'm going to have to go onto campus.
Man.
So
I think you should create like game plan for this.
Oh, I'm already planning. I already like that's why I was talking to you about the battery pack, because I'm gonna need it, because I'm be on campus for almost like 8 hours. But yeah, I've already been planning. Speaking of planning, this week I have surgery. I don't think I've brought that up on this podcast.
That is new, yes.
Yeah, I have to get surgery on my foot, which is crazy because here's the thing. And like the doctors have noted as well, I've been relatively healthy all my life. Like the only surgery I've ever required was for my appendix, and that was it. Other than that, I've never had to get like major surgery, be put on medication, other than like you know, like temporary medication. You know, I'm more so talking about like permanent medication.
Right.
And I've never like broken a bone or anything, and yet here I am getting major surgery where they're going to break my bone. So it's like two birds with one stone. Never broken a bone, and yet here I am about to get my bone broken because it's required for the surgery.
Did they mention you're going to be put on anesthetics or like...
More than likely. There's no way they're breaking my bone with me awake.
I think it's happened more than once in terms of they put an anesthetic, but they don't put it in enough so they feel the pain. or like they're just waking up just to notice it happening as it's going on. So I think you should be aware of that. You never know.
Yeah. And now I have to be extra precautious because I have to go Wednesday for the pre-op appointment. And then I also got to get a COVID test. Make sure I don't got COVID when I get this surgery. So I'm being extra precautious, not even going out at all for even just a drive.
Right.
But yeah, that's the only major thing happening with me as far as the rest of this weekend and week.
And it's going to happen on the 9th, right? On a Friday?
Yeah, it's going to happen on the Friday. So I don't think we'll be able to record. We'll probably have to do another session like today where we record on a Saturday.
Yeah. As long as you feel good afterwards, you don't want to be in pain doing a podcast.
Well, I don't know. It depends on if you work that Friday. Because if you don't, and I'm back home in the afternoon, I can record with you,
Yeah, okay.
But if you work or if I don't get back till I don't know, nighttime. I don't know. I've never had any major surgery, so I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how long they're gonna keep me there. I don't know when they're gonna dismiss me.
Yeah.
So it all depends, but it's either we get it on Friday, Saturday, or if for some whatever reason I'm not back on either of those days, then we'll just postpone until the next week.
Yeah.
Which tying into today. About 30 minutes of good. That's a good amount of time for us. You're probably asking yourself, you guys usually record on Friday. Why are you recording on a Saturday? Was Dom working and you guys couldn't record? No. Was someone busy or was there had to be a late change of plans? No. As Dom brought it up earlier, there's something very special about today. For those who have been following for a while, July 3rd was the day of our very first episode for this podcast. And here we are, 74 episodes later. This is episode 75. We're here 1 year later, 1 year anniversary. Isn't it crazy?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Been a whole year of doing this on our own. And me with Mr. Solis.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's crazy to think that we've been doing this now for 5 years. We started freshman year for our school podcast. Did it all 4 years of high school. Could have easily just said, all right, that's it. But, we still had a passion for this, And we were like, why not do one on our own, And the biggest thing we were was man, it doesn't matter if people listen. Sure, we want to grow it, But we were man, it doesn't really matter if people listen. It doesn't matter, if it's just the two of us sometimes. We just thought it would be a really cool outlet,
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about all this?
Well, after departing from the Art of Learning podcast with Solis, we kind of felt weird doing it on our own, with our own conditions and without having any sort of restrictions on us. Mm-hmm. It feels weird knowing that we've done this for an entire year afterwards doing the 4-year thing with Solis.
Yeah, because even on year 4, we kind of had to go do our own one, But we still had teachers there to supervise and even be a part of the episodes, right?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of the way to say this, but I get what you mean that it's just so weird to come and do it on our own. We kept similar restrictions, I think we mentioned in episode 1, but unlike with Solis where we would mention anytime we had a guest or just from time to time, We still set some restrictions, we're relatively clean, just to be more, how would you say, available, I guess you'd say, to wider audiences.
Yeah.
We don't for the most part, we try and make sure we have our information right, you know? No just spewing nonsense without having any type of backing to it.
Yeah.
And what else don't we have? I think those were like our only like two main restrictions was that, you know, keep it relatively clean and make sure you know what you're talking about, because, you know, like that's the one big thing is like for the most part, if we're going to talk about something, we make sure we come prepared, you know?
Yeah.
Which I think is something like is missing a lot nowadays, you know? So many people just believe the first thing they see and don't like do research into it, you know?
Yeah.
Which is why I find this podcast so natural, because I've always been like that analytical guy who makes sure as I do my research and has like, you know, when it, like giving like a sports analogy to it, I make sure I have my numbers right when I bring up an argument, you know?
Yeah.
But man, it's like 5 years of doing this. It's really crazy. And
technically speaking, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I do want to point out just one quick thing. Doesn't this podcast technically strain all the way even before we even started?
What do you mean?
Yeah. Before we even started back in freshman year?
Oh yeah.
With Mark?
Yeah, Mr. Solis did it. I forgot what year he started in. Maybe like 2014 or earlier. I don't know. I forgot when Mr. Solis joined the Alliance School and then started it with a couple students. But yeah, so Solis has even further experience with doing it. And then we joined in because I heard about it, you know. And then I remember going to first episode. I invited you to do it. And you went the very next week. Like second week of school, I think it was, right?
Right.
And then ever since then, we've been pretty consistent with it. Very rarely missing. And it's crazy to think, because you're like, man, you would think you would run out of things to talk about at that point. But I think that was like the biggest change. And it wasn't until like our last year when we had to do it on our own without Solis that we kind of realized the like little restriction we had, you know?
Yeah.
Because obviously there was like restriction, but like I remember me and you were talking about, because when the COVID thing hit, we were like, man, how do you even record a podcast, you know, if we're not here next to each other, right? Because that's how we were doing it all the time. And even before that, you know, we were kind of on and off, because there was like weeks where we were like, well, what are we even going to record about, you know?
Yeah.
And we would always be struggling to come up with a topic. And then that's when we realized we're the hosts of this. We can realistically talk about anything and everything we want within like a certain boundary when we were doing the school one. And that essentially became the origin of this podcast, where we were like, you know, you have people who tie themselves down to certain topics, you know, like sports, anime, movies, you know, right?
Right.
But then me and you, going off that base, we were like, why not just do one on everything? Why limit ourselves when we can just have this wide range of topics to talk about anything and everything?
Yeah.
And it's worked very well, because other than times where we've had to miss due to work, school, stuff like that, it's like we've had a topic almost every week that we've done this, and still have plenty of ideas. You know, I have the ones that are about monthly, where I do them with Solis, and I have the ones here, and the ones that I do with Solis even influence the ones here, because as you guys have seen, brought in the introducing wrestling ideas to a non-wrestling fan in Dom. That alone can probably supply me for a whole year's worth of content with Dom. But then you again throw in other topics such as anime, video games, movies, shows, throw in tier lists, throw in any discussions that come up that we see maybe from social media, from fellow like content creators that we watch, you know.
Yeah.
But so after a year of doing this, and even taking into account the previous 4 years of also, or the previous 4 years before this of doing it, what do you think would you say was the most you got out of podcasting?
I think the most I've gotten out of this is like being able to talk more out loud about like any like random topic. But not only that, but like also do my research before I even speak on about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be speaking, out of nowhere with random information that I don't know about or that I barely know about, just coming from like some Twitter source or like from the news. I think starting off for the first like episode with Mr. Solis back in freshman year, I barely even talked that much. Like I introduced myself and stuff like that, but I just stayed there, just like saying, "Oh yes, right, without even like throwing in my like 2 cents into like any conversation. But over time, I was able to speak a little bit more and maybe even hold an entire conversation without like pausing and stuff like that. But what's even more important was that I was able just to overall socialize a bit more. Even though I already knew you and I began to know Mr. Solis more, I was able to speak even more whenever we had like guests on, like when we had like the Green Club. What's the Green Club? And then we had the what was it? The Guitar Club, I believe it was called at the time. When we interviewed them, and whenever we had like other guests on, such as your dad, we had Mr. Soto that one time. Or I think it was multiple times.
Never forget our best episode with Bennick.
And with Benning too. Oh man,
bro, it was funny because we were interviewing him, and then he also brought in questions that had us thinking.
Wasn't it the infamous questions? If you could be any planet, what would you be?
Yeah, or like a type of celestial body.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a cool episode. And to think, it was all done because Mr. Solis was writing a letter of rec for him, right?
I believe so. He came in for that time.
But I feel you on that. Like that, I would say that's my biggest takeaway because, I've never really been a social person, But like, this podcast has really helped me when it comes to being able to like talk, I guess you could say.
Right.
Because like on the like, I don't know, maybe it's more easier to tell, but honestly, it's like when there's days where we don't have a topic, or when we have one like planned as a backup, but like we take up the whole episode talking about something else, just jumping from topic to topic.
Right.
That's like, this has really improved. Like there was that one episode where we started off without having anything to talk about. Like we just looked at the list and said, well, if we run ideas, we'll go with this question. But we went like just boom, 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 somehow connecting topic to topic to topic like it was nothing. And like that's the biggest thing this podcast has improved for me, is being able to hold up a conversation when there's not a topic at hand. I'm still pretty bad at it, but I'm improving solely because of this podcast and the previous years of experience with it.
Yeah.
Like. And it's also kind of helped us get to know each other better when it comes to like seeing where we stand on certain points. Do we hold common views? What's something that I hold a highly view of where you don't, vice versa, Like whenever you do the tier list, it's always fun to see like, how we differ, what's the reasoning behind the differences,
Yeah.
Man, but doing a year of this, it's honestly been great, Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, how would you say it? I feel like the most we could both get out of this podcast is being able to use it outside of this podcast. You feel me? Like you, for example. I mean, like let's say if you were to like be placed into like a one-on-one like discussion section at UCLA, right? I'm not sure how they're gonna work, but you could just imagine like if you're talking with somebody you absolutely don't even know at all, you could just imagine we're like in a sort of a podcast with like the discussion point just being like a regular podcast topic.
Yeah, I get you.
So like it could be like what the topic is about. I don't know. Should people start wearing masks even after the vaccination or something like that? And then you could just start conversating with the other person you absolutely don't know about, but you can begin to engage without having it to look awkward. If you imagine it as if it were a podcast, right? Without anyone else, like, you know, noticing you. It's just you two people, or maybe three, maybe four, maybe five. And then, you know, it won't seem as, how would you say it? As if we're just talking to random nobodies don't care about what you're going to say. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't. You know, I mean, it is what it is. But you always want to see on point that, you know, participation, whatnot. Or at least overall, just to have confidence to speak out, and you know, without having to seem quiet the whole time. Because I mean, to be honest, that's how pretty much I was during the first couple days or the first couple weeks, beginning off like the freshman stuff with a bunch of like discussion sections. But as gradually over time, and as gradually as we had the podcast going on, I just began speaking out a little bit more. Sure, not all the times, but with the podcast thing in mind and just simply thinking as if we were in a podcast, I would just speak out as if we were, you know, talking buddy, one-on-one. Or, you know, with more people. But, you know, using the elements of what we know now, what we used to say here, we could just use it out there. Obviously, very clean, you know, being respectful of everyone and such like that. You get me?
Yeah, I get what you're getting. And I guess it will be put to the test once we go back in person, you know, to truly see.
Yeah, that is going to be something.
This entire year of podcasting has been done through computer.
That is true, yes.
And we're hoping for the day that we can go back to recording in person so that we won't have to worry about lag, background noises from each other's home, you know.
Yeah.
You know, get equipment so we can improve the sound, because, you know, this is the phone picking up the sound from the computer, you know, versus recording on the app that's on the computer with microphones connected, you know, headphones so we can at least hear and make sure the sound's all good, you know.
Yeah.
Potentially look towards visuals, because that's been a big thing ever since we started, even at the school, was the introduction of visuals. It was just never could get on it, because I mean that adds a whole nother element to it. Probably would require more time just because of like editing, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that's always a big thing, because it's like, I don't know, unless we can find someone who would be willing to like do like editing and stuff like that, you know, then I don't think we'd move to visuals, at least not anytime soon. Especially because we're two college students. We're busy with a lot of other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's not really difficult to find time to sit down here for basically an hour and record, you know, but like the stuff that comes after, it's like that's extra time, you know, uploading the episodes, posting about it to the social medias and all that, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe we can find someone in like future times like that would be willing to do that for us, you know, editing, posting to the socials. It just have to be someone who has the time to do it.
True.
Because not only do we not have the time, but I don't think really either of us have the experience of like editing for like YouTube and stuff like that. The easy cop out is doing Twitch, you know, because that you just need like doesn't like Twitch would automatically save the VOD, right, and then you could just upload that to YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's that option, but again, I don't think either of us know how to run Twitch, so that's another thing that it's like it would again take time to learn, and I think that would also be more time consuming, so we'd have to move it to like a different day, you know, because unless both of us find a way where we don't have any type of school or work on like Friday, setting all that up, making sure everything's running right, you know. So I don't know, just some food for thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in my 2 cents. I honestly just want to see this podcast grow more. I want to go back into like a physical setting, but like where we get to have mics and stuff like that. I think I mentioned before. What was it? The podcast called Trash Taste. I'm not sure if you ever seen them. It's basically like an anime themed podcast, but like the way they do it is like it's all in person. It's like three dudes, you know, drinking beers or drinking like you know, whatever. But like they're in the physical setting, right? And they're just there just to interact with one another, just without restrictions, mind you. Like they just simply do whatever. But it's like in a concentrated like small little office space where they bought out, and then this whole like, but you know, just like them, I want to see us maybe something like into them or like something at least that in terms of the technology based equipment, like with microphones, computers on standby, like maybe a green screen in the background if we want to throw in some visuals.
I was thinking
maybe like a little.
Because the biggest thing with this podcast is that I see the reason we would need to go visual is there's so many times where we're doing stuff that relies on visuals, you know, the tier list, let me think, the tier list, being able to like see like when we're describing something, but you can't describe it in words, only through like, you know, hands or something like that, or showing it, expressions, you know, like I guarantee you people would have loved to seen like your like facial reactions to when we were watching that one Hell of Fire match, you know. So I get you, like there's a lot of benefits to the visual, and I agree with the green screen part. That was one thing I was thinking, was like, yeah, a green screen would be cool to have, just to like, you know, like if we're like recording somewhere, like you don't just have a plain white wall, you know.
Yeah.
I get you. Man, again though, would take a lot more effort. Not that we're not willing to put in that effort, we definitely would be. I don't know, maybe since I will have a lot of time with the surgery, since I'm not gonna be able to do anything, maybe I'll look into like visual editing and Twitch and stuff. Maybe we could do a Twitch just to like, I guess you say like video, like to put in like video game terms, run it as a beta, you know.
Yeah.
Like use Twitch as like the beta for the visuals while we're still like online, in preparation for when we come back to person. Because I actually have a mic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually have a mic. I would need to get another one for you. We could just bring.
I mean, I don't want you to just buy everything. I could source myself a mic, I think. I mean, how expensive does a mic go for though? That's a real question.
It depends on the quality you're looking for. I think
because I could use a headset mic, right? I mean, that could work too.
Yeah, I think a headset mic could work. The like actual microphones, I don't know. I think the cheapest I've seen is like 25, 30-ish, which, you know, isn't too bad. We already have like headphones, and we could just use any that are lying around, you know, just to be able to listen and make sure everything sounds right, you know.
Yeah.
We already have our recording software, thanks to Spreaker. Which I think, because if you go to visual, you know, it's obviously like different, you know. But I think I would still want to, if we're doing visual, I would still want to record for the Spreaker, you know, just so that if people want just an audio only, they can have it, for like when they're traveling.
Yeah.
But
I think we should maybe move to Twitch. But listen to me. Hear me out. I feel like Twitch would be like the best move because not only that, we could like throw in like recordings of our videos, just thrown onto the platform for anyone to hear, both for visually and for like audio only. They don't have to see the actual video; they could just put on the audio for it. But we could also, if this, if our channel were to gain some traction, we could acquire new viewers, and then they could start asking questions.
Yeah, I get you. That's another big feature.
So, and so that will be even more content. At the end of the day, it's content. Yeah. And then, dude, this is a good idea. This would definitely be a good idea. Or we could like do like a double like live stream. We could do live stream 1 hour of the Rule 34 podcast on Twitch with chat on, and YouTube as well, because they also have a live chat feature, so we can have like multiple people watching from multiple places at the same time with chat.
I get you.
These are things to know.
When you said the double thing, I was thinking 1 hour like on the record, and then like 1 hour off the record is what I was thinking. Where like to give like that incentive as to why to tune in. Like on Twitch, it's like an extra hour of like content where it's interacting with people.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah, you gotta
the questions, and then potentially turning whatever question they ask us into a future discussion topic.
Right.
I get you. Cue that SpongeBob meme. Write that down.
Yes.
There's big plans heading into year 2, as always. Almost anything. It's like when you're heading into year 2 or something. Sports, you're a rookie, looking to take that sophomore leap, I believe is what they call it. Taking that second step to being better. Anime, going into a second season. Usually, you're looking to build and have more hype based off of the first season. Video games going into a sequel, you're looking to top the first year. And honestly, I don't want to like toot our own horn or anything, but I feel like we'll be just fine in year 2. I feel like we'll be even better with a year of doing this on our own under our belt.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because never forget the first episode where we didn't even have an outro like planned on how to close out. And yet here we are now. We got an intro song, outro song. Man, if only we could have kept the original intro song. As much as I love our intro song now, but just I don't know. I felt like that first one fit so well with our like how would you say? With our
setting of the podcast.
Yeah, like the setting, the vibes, and stuff like that. But thankfully, we found Kubbi, who that's another thing that's so impressive is able to get his permission to use his song.
True.
I got it on the record too. The moment it happened, I made sure to screenshot it and keep the screenshot so that if anything ever comes up in the future, I have written proof that this man gave us permission. That's crazy to think, though, that we got his permission.
That's true from like an actual creator.
Mm-hmm. All right, well.
Wait, question. Wasn't it the reason why he said that is because he was planning to copyright us if we use this song without his permission, right?
It wasn't that artist. It was a different one.
It was a different artist.
It was a WWE theme song.
Oh,
and as the listeners to whenever me and Mr. Solis talk and me and you talk, WWE is very strong under copyright.
Yeah.
Also, because we have about 4 minutes left, surprising. It seems like, again, we've been just talking so smoothly. I just want to throw this out there as it's a sad joke, but it's a joke nonetheless. last was it last week or the week before? I can't remember, but I just remember recording, telling Dom about how, oh yeah, there's rumors that there might be a release or something within the WWE, and Dom goes, well, I hope that doesn't happen. And as soon as I stopped recording, there was a release, and then it just rapid fire after that, release after release from WWE. And then later on that day, I told Dom, and he just goes, I was like, oh yeah, Dom, bad news. He goes, why? I go, yeah, the releases happened as soon as I stopped recording. He was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. WWE is a crazy place, man. I mean, maybe it will be like a full-on topic next time, but, you know, all I'll say is I understand it's a business and all, and, like, you gotta run your business efficiently and make the most money. But, like, I don't know, the releases always rub me the wrong way. Even if I didn't, like, particularly enjoy the wrestler or, like, was interested in them, you know? It's just, like, it's always a thing of, it sucks to see someone lose their job, and it always sucks to see them, like, do such mass releases.
Yeah.
Because the big issue is, it floods the market, and then it's, like, with the amount of people that they release, it makes it a struggle, because then it's like, well, not everyone can get signed at once. There's only so little money from all the other companies. So it's like, you know, that's one of my issues with it. But other than that, what a way to cap off a year, huh, mate?
Pretty much.
Man,
around.
Forget 4th of July. It's all about the 3rd of July, the 1-year anniversary of the Rule 34 podcast. I've had a lot of people on this journey, but for the most part, other than, of course, recording with Solis when I do my wrestling one, it's just been me and you, and we've been running with it ever since, huh? Obviously, we both said we'd love to have more, or we're obviously open to having more people come in as guests, and if they want to, you know, obviously through evaluation from the both of us, if we can deem them so permanent members, you know. Like, yeah. I consider Mr. Solis a member of this, but he personally sees himself as just a reoccurring guest, you know. But, you know, we're very open to it. As we always say when we close out, this podcast is for anybody and everybody, and the door is open for anybody and everybody to join us, you know. But so, well, about a minute left. We'll close out here, you know. I've been your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-host.
Oh, Dom.
Dom in the kitchen, Jack in his bed. We want to thank you all, not only for joining us for another episode of the Rule 34 podcast, but, you know, even if it's here or there, joining us and supporting us for an entire year of this. Shout out to my dad for supporting this as well, you know. Our biggest supporter right now.
Yep.
Especially financially.
That too, yeah.
But, you know, thank anyone and everyone who's ever listened to an episode. As always, if it exists, we have an opinion on it. We'll see you in the next episode. Keep you updated on what happens because, you know, as I mentioned with the surgery thing, I don't know if I'll be back on that Friday or the next day, you know, we'll all see. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen in the morning, so I should be back later that day to record if you're not working, though.
I mean, there might be a chance it might work, but you never know.
We'll see. If it exists, we have an opinion on it. Thank you. See you in the next episode.